August Sessions, episode 3, take 1.
One of these days, I'm gonna afford to be able to buy a clapper.
Love this thing.
Yeah, I've learned in show business for 26 years now, but I've been a famous TV personality now for 2 days,
Sweet.
and I've learned that's called a slate.
Oh, I didn't
Am I right,
know that
guys?
either.
It's a slate. That's why I'm a singer, dude. You know, I don't talk. You've got the talking on stage down thing. The show, it really is in between your songs as much as it is your songs, which you've mastered that. It's one of my favorite things about watching you play. It's incredibly funny or heartbreaking, depending on which way you feel like taking it at that very moment. I get up there and we have a talk back up there where Josh walks, and Josh is standing right there. Josh walks up to the talk back and goes, "Let's go, Cody." You know, because I'm up there talking about God knows what, and that's all right because that's my style, but that's your style, and we're going to talk about your style. First off, I've said this many times in many interviews that I've done with people. You are the best I've ever written with. And I don't say that lightly. And we're going to get to all these things like who you think the best is out there right now. And it's not a competition, but I've been lucky enough to start the show off with some really heavy hitting songwriters. And I'm so pleased to have you, not only because I get to see you, but because we're kind of working. You know, you've stayed at my house many times. We've written many, many songs together, laughed together and cried together, and talked about our various therapy sessions together. Josh Morningstar, longtime friend, accomplished singer, songwriter extraordinaire, gets up and starts writing songs and is usually done with his first one by the time the rest of the world is waking up.
I work better in the morning.
Yeah. From about 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock. 5 o'clock's kind of a late start.
Yeah.
Funkstown, Maryland. Something I really like getting into is where your music came from. I know you came from a musically inclined family, and you got your first guitar and wrote your first song at 9. I don't have a lot of songwriter friends that are from as far up the map as you are. Usually country artists are from more to the south. And not that I'm pigeonholing you into a country artist, but Funkstown, Maryland. How did that, if it did in fact, help shape your sound?
Yeah, man. Well, I wanted to be a country singer, but I got to Nashville and they were like, "Man, you smell like weed and mushrooms. Get out of here." So I kind of had to fall in where I got in. But I always had a love of it. Growing up, I lived with my grandparents a lot, and they were real into country music. They listened to the 80s stuff like Alabama and, that era, Hank Jr. and that kind of stuff. But my grandfather especially would always turn on the old country station, WJEJ, 1390 AM. His guy was Hank Sr. So I always had an affinity for Hank Sr. And country music was always around. But I heard a quote one time say, "You don't understand country music until you get your heart and your nose broke a couple times." So it was the music that was always there, but I didn't really understand it until I had lived a little bit. And then it was like, oh, wow, I get it now. I get it. I grew up in, singing in the choir in church. My dad has a very beautiful baritone, like chorus singing voice, So he was always singing, and I learned to sing harmony actually because he would always, when he was like singing along with the radio, he would never sing the melody line. He would always sing the harmony parts. So that's how I learned to sing harmony. And my mom played the guitar and the piano. So it was just always around, man. And I don't remember a time when I didn't want to be a musician of some sort. Now, obviously, throughout the different stages and phases of my life, I was into different music, When I was 13, I thought it was Kurt Cobain, and then I got into hip hop as I, got more into teenager.
I've heard you rap.
Yeah,
it's
man.
really, really good, dude.
I appreciate it.
It's really good.
Man, I've always loved words, man, and expressing myself. And I'm the kind of person like you had mentioned, my stage show. I'm more comfortable in that scenario with a bunch of people staring at me than I am in like a one-on-one conversation. I'm very socially awkward and shy and quiet, you know, but I don't have any problem talking in front of a crowd of people. I've just always, that area where I'm from in Maryland, it's, if you look at a map and a picture of the state of Maryland, on the left side there's a real skinny part. And in that real skinny part, you can get to Pennsylvania in 10 minutes, you can get to Virginia in 10 minutes, you can get to West Virginia in 10 minutes. So I grew up in a very unique place with all kinds of musical influences coming from all types of different directions. And I don't ever remember a time where I didn't want to do this for even as far back as like 5 and 6, man, singing in the choir. It was just always something that I wanted to do, and there was never really a plan B for it. Yeah, there was never really a plan B for it, man. And I spent, just like you, and I tell people all this all the time, like, I have so much respect for you because I know where you came from. I know how much time you spent in bars singing to nobody or 2 people, you know? So even, you know, I mean, I still have nights like that, but they've gotten better for the most part. But
we still have nights like that too.
Yeah,
we had
man.
one like that the other day. We thought, what are we doing here? Yeah, it still happens, brother.
Yeah. So, man, even nights like that, I knew I was going to figure out a way to make it work. Thanks to people like yourself and other helping hands along the way, we've been able to do it, man. And that's a really long way to answer your question as to how where I'm from influenced
No,
my
it's
music,
exactly what
but-
it's exactly what I was looking for. It is. And the first song that you wrote when you were 9, what was it called?
School, I Don't Like It.
School, I Don't Like It.
Yes, sir. And I remember it, and it's
I
terrible.
bet you do.
But yeah.
No, I bet it's probably really, really good.
For a 9-year-old, probably.
Yeah, it's probably so. There's a band from Funkstown, Maryland called Kicks. This is a band that had a big hit. They went platinum, right?
Yes, sir, they did.
With a song called "Don't Close Your Eyes," not to be mistaken with
Keith Whitley, yeah.
Right. But Kicks was a kind of some local heroes of yours that
Yeah, man.
you're like, I can do this. These guys are from here. They did it.
That's it, man. They showed me that you could be from where I'm from. And, you know, I love the place that I'm from just because it's the place that I'm from. But it doesn't offer a lot of opportunity, especially if you want to do something in the arts or something creative. Like, there's not a lot of people that come from where I'm from that have success in artistic endeavors. There's a few, but there's not a lot. And Kicks was the first one I ever saw as a child that, hey, these people are from here and they're doing exactly what you want to do. It can be done. If they did it, you can do it.
Mm-hmm.
There's no reason that you can't do it.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, they were an 80s hair metal band, not necessarily my cup of tea, you know, but I
Doesn't
always
matter,
had,
man. It
yeah,
doesn't matter.
Yeah, always had so much respect for them, man, for what they did.
Yeah.
And still do, you know what I mean? No one can take that platinum record away from them. No one can take those Japanese tours away from, you know what I mean? Like,
Right.
they live their dreams, man. And
Yeah.
by seeing them live their dreams, it said to me, hey, you can live yours too.
Well, it's anybody that's in this business that. I was telling my son the other day, he wants to do this, and you've
Yeah,
basically
he's
watched
awesome,
my kids
man.
grow
Yeah.
up, you know, but, you know, telling him, like, you have to understand, there's more people making a living in this business, writing songs and playing music that you don't know about than you do know about.
Yeah.
You know, there's a ton of people out there at various levels making a living doing this, writing songs that you know, writing songs that you don't know, all over the world, in every culture.
Yes, sir.
You know, they have their people. But let's dive into the nuts and bolts of the songwriting. You're a wordsmith. I mean, I really can't, as a songwriter, I can't think of anything more flattering or nice to say. You know,
It's true, man.
Guy Clark's a wordsmith.
Yes, sir.
You know, Christopherson that we just lost, you know, very recently, a wordsmith. And we can talk more about him. You and I both were fortunate enough to meet him. We have written, and you have written for me, my personal favorites. My favorite song to play live every night, and has been for years, is "Ain't a Train." I could play In a Train 3 or 4 times a night. I'm not
That's
joking.
awesome.
We do almost 30 songs a night, and I know that you do a lot of songs as well, but that's one that every time I sing that song, I'm thinking about the lyrics to that song. I'm not getting through that song because I know it's one of their favorites. I know it's that guy's favorite or that guy's favorite. That one's my favorite.
Yeah.
You know,
That's
and
cool,
and
man.
so, you know, and then when the piano starts to Must Be the Whiskey, you've seen that reaction. I still get chills thinking about
Same,
it
dude.
because I remember a few years ago we did we played in Ohio at the Horseshoe with Luke and Luke Combs, and we went into Must Be the Whiskey, and you know, there was a stadium and everybody was singing it, and
Goosebumps right
you
now.
called me and you were like, oh my God, dude, I saw that.
I saw that video. I'm sorry to interrupt.
Yeah,
I saw
yeah.
that video, man, and I cried seeing it.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
that's stuff you don't dream of, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or maybe in your wildest dreams, but man, like seeing something like that actually, there's no feeling for it, man.
And something funny about that song is really that was really the first song that you wrote that you kind of showed me years and years ago, really at the beginning of our relationship, writing together. And and help me remember correctly, because we didn't talk about this before we started rolling. If I remember correctly, I was standing in my old house in Denton. This is how long ago this has been. And you and I were talking on the phone. You said, man, I think I have this song that you're going to dig. And I kind of loosely based it off of the rhythm to Hippies and Cowboys. Is that okay?
Yes, sir.
All right. And so if you listen to it, it's just got that that kind of little
Same tempo, minor key kind of thing, you know? Yep.
on down to you know, Ain't a Train on the fun end and the optimistic end. It Must Be the Whiskey, which is a drinking song, but it's kind of a fun one because everybody loves yelling that at the shows. That's a good time, hooting and hollering song. Down to Tell 'Em What It's Like, which that song was cited by Ward Davis. Tell 'Em What It's Like, that was a song that I had the first verse to, the second verse to. And you showed up to the house, and I was playing it for you, and I was saying you were pacing around as you do when you write. You're holding your guitar, you're pacing. You don't stop to write it down often. You have a mind that just hangs on to it. You're listening to me, and I'm going through this song, and you just all of a sudden play the chorus. You just rip it out, man. It's just bam, there it is. It's word for word like it is on the record. Chord, melody, everything is the same, and it came right off the top of your head, and you finished with it. And I was sitting there, and I had one of these, and I'm like, you know, oftentimes when I write with you, I feel like I'm just taking shorthand for the songwriter, and I'm just like, I'm just gonna put my name on the top. It's cool, you know. And so I wrote it down, and that was it. Song was done, and it wasn't the quickest I've ever finished a song, but it was probably the most interesting and quick I've ever had a co-write come in, because I sang through it twice, if memory serves, and then you just ripped that chorus out. And that was a time of my life, and we had talked about this. We lean on each other a lot personally. I was going through a really, really difficult time. We had just gotten off a tour with these guys, and I was way deep in being drunk all the time and going through a bunch of stuff. And the fact that you could finish that chorus and make it so perfectly like where I was, you know, it was like, yeah, that's okay. I called the right guy to help finish this one. What's your account of it?
Man, so I was able to do that so quickly because I related to what you were saying so much. When you played those verses for me, man, they were so vulnerable and honest, and they struck a chord with me, man. They struck a chord. So you were playing it, and then you got done, and I said, man, will you play that again, please? And while you're playing it again, I started in my mind just kind of, okay, well, this will probably go to, you know, A minor or whatever. But then while I'm thinking of what we could do with it, I was also thinking, don't mess this song up, don't mess this song up, don't mess it, because it was so beautiful, man. And you know, there's always a fear when, you know, an artist, especially when you respect like I do you, when an artist brings a song to you that they need some assistance with, you don't want to mess somebody's song up. And that was so beautiful and so real and so honest that I was a little worried that I was going to screw it up. But when you got done, I look at choruses a lot of times, hooks, whatever you want to call them, as kind of the sum of all parts. So whatever you're saying in your verses, you kind of want the chorus to, relate and sum everything up, kind of put a bow on it, so to speak. And if you look at the verses in the chorus of that song, all I'm really saying, or, the words to the chorus are really just kind of summing up the feeling of what you were saying in the verses. Like if the verses are the detail, then the chorus is your broad strokes, And that's really all I was trying to do with that, was just sum up what you had already said in kind of broad strokes. And that song, I mean, I say it all the time, that song is my favorite that we've worked on together. Must Be the Whiskey's been the most successful. Ain't a Train's your favorite to play live. This one is my favorite that we've worked on together.
I was telling you this morning before we started rolling, The Plea came out in 18. And it's a 7-song, I guess that would make it an EP. And I was just, as we do, we talk about, personal life, because we are friends, first. Pulling Weeds is my wife's favorite song.
That's so cool, man.
And she sings it while she's pulling weeds in the garden, and she sings it when she's dealing with me. and I know there's something up whenever Rebecca's listening to Morningstar sing Pulling Weeds. There's usually something larger at hand going on. But you said something a while ago. You said after I'd done some living, or gotten scuffed up a little bit in life, you've done a lot of living.
Unfortunately,
well, unfortunately and fortunately, I think, we all go through our own mountains and valleys and whatnot. But what I love so much about songwriters and songwriters like yourself is I believe you when you sing it.
Thanks, man.
It's a matter of believability. That's why I don't think people believe what's on the radio.
Yes, sir.
All the time. I'm not saying it's not all true.
Of course,
but
of course.
But your song is your song and your overall song in the broad scope of things. Looking at it, but it's your song is a sad one, but it's a journey of never giving up, and I think that's where Pulling Weeds really, because, dude, the last year and a half, personally and professionally for us, have been kicking the balls. Yeah. That's real life. I know it hadn't been real easy on you either, and that's where we get these songs.
Yes, sir.
But just highlighting, Damn These Birds.
Yeah, that one.
And then let's fast forward to some happier stuff and a better perspective, because you've got Living the Dream on there, which is a cheeky little song, but it's a whole lot better to listen to than the Josh Morningstar that I met in 2018 at a music festival in Hagerstown, Maryland.
Yes, sir.
You've come a long way, man.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that. I try to be better today than I was yesterday. I don't always succeed. I don't think anyone does, but man, as long as we're always trying to be better and trying to evolve as a person and be, the highest form of ourselves we can be, I think things will turn out okay. I have done a lot of stupid stuff in my life and made a lot of poor decisions. I try to look at it as a silver lining because it helps me with my job now, but man, I just, there's all kinds of dumb stuff in my past. I was a heroin addict, been off it for 13 years on the 17th of October. Jail, divorce, just all that stuff, man. And I like to think that I've learned from the things that have happened in my past, and I know that I have because I don't make those mistakes, those same kind of mistakes anymore. I make different mistakes now. But the thing about mistakes is, like I said, man, they help you with your job if this is your job.
Sure.
So.
Yeah. Well, something about you is you're one of the most vulnerable songwriters, and a question that we were coming up, and a lot of these questions are my staff helped me out with these because, and I don't see this with you. It's a question I ask is, can you be so vulnerable in a song that you change the song? And I don't see that with you.
I don't think I have, man. Okay, so I'll put it like this. Okay, so there's people that come to Nashville, something like 100 people a week move here, right? And a lot of them obviously are musicians and songwriters. And you can write your song, right? And you can put the girl's name in there, you can put how she broke your heart, you can put all this personal stuff in there, right? And then you can go down to Music Row and you can show people your song, and they can say, hey, let's change the girl's name so that someone else can relate to it a little better. Let's change this detail to make it a little more universal. And the things that you put in the song, what is medicine, therapy, or whatever to you, they'll show you how to take those things out so that maybe you make a little more money, but you lose the medicine. And I don't believe in losing the medicine, so to speak. Like, if something happened to me, chances are I'm going to explain it the way that it happened, because that is what helps me to process and understand these things in my life. Whereas if I tried to make them a little broader on the spectrum, it might reach more people, but it's not going to help me the same way. Like, yeah, this is my job and how I make my living, but more so than any of that, it's how I cope and how I deal and how I handle. And if I take the medicine out of that equation, man, what am I doing? You know what I mean? Then I'm just doing it for what I would consider to be the wrong reasons. I like to write songs for the right reasons, which to me are exactly what I've been saying: to understand, to cope, to deal, to heal. And if I'm not writing for that, then I might as well not write, because I don't do this for the money. The money's great, you know what I mean? It's an awesome perk of the job, but there were many, many years where I was doing this where there was no money. And the money goes tomorrow, I'm still going to be doing this because it's what I do,
It's what you are.
Yeah, it's what I am, man.
Yeah.
So I have to be that vulnerable, I think, because if I don't, then it doesn't help me.
I couldn't add anything to that. That's, yeah. I feel like you're doing, not you, I mean, I feel like we're doing our audience a great disservice if we don't completely pull our pants down.
Yes, sir.
And that's where the believability comes in with my favorite writers, because that's why, you do have hardcore fans, hardcore listeners that are going to go wherever you're at to see you play, because they know that what they're going to get at your show is really seeing you with just a guitar is, in my opinion, is the best way to see you. And I know that you prefer to play that way. You're writing songs and you're just saying them in between what you speak lyrically. Whenever you get into a cadence like that into your show, it's like you go reptile brain and you. I don't know how to explain it otherwise. You have to see it. It's amazing. It's truly. There's another guy that used to do that and do it better than anybody else, and he was one of the best at it for a long time. Scott Conklyn from Fort Worth. One of my favorite writers from back home a long time ago. He would do that. You do have, there's a realism about the way you write, because you get spiritual, and then you tell about all the bad things. But you were talking about it, and I have this thing right here, because it's like all these great writers, it's fun versus a job now. Mm-hmm. It is your job now. I never really saw you as like the guy that wrote for a publishing company. Mm-hmm. I think all your stuff was so personal. Nobody writes for themselves probably more than you, but nobody writes for other people better than you.
Thanks, man.
which is really tough to do. So where do you separate it? When it is a job versus, you know, because I know you've sat down at co-writes that you've hated.
Oh yeah. I mean, we all have. We all have. Man, so speaking, okay, I'll just use you as an example, okay? I'm before we had ever met, I was a fan of your music. So one of the things that first caught my attention about your music was it wasn't the standard like 1-4-5. Okay, it was, you know, it was minor chords and different kind of chord progressions, which I consider to be rock and roll or heavy chord progression.
You
know
have
what I
that background too, though, so
Yeah,
you picked
exactly,
that up.
yep.
That's why, yeah.
Yep. So I was a fan of your music, and I understood your sound to a degree, and once I understand that, then I'll start paying attention to the themes in your music, like what it is that you're singing about. You know, David is a story. You know, We Get By is to me at least, it's a you know, keep going, kind of pulling weeds type vibe, same type, you know, theme. So once I've done that, man, it's not too hard for me to then like essentially put myself in your shoes, I guess, in a way. Just as far as like what I think you might dig musically. Now, obviously, I don't always hit a home run, or no one always hits a home run, you know, but there have been a few instances where I've been able to, you know, just kind of understand where you would probably go with something. Must Be the Whiskey, for example. Like, as soon as I started with that chord progression, I was like, man, that's Jinks all day. So it's really just, to come back to your question, I think it's really just a matter of understanding who the artist that I'm writing with or for is, and then also being able to, in a sense, like replicate that kind of, I guess, if that makes sense. Because like, one thing I noticed, and I don't know, this is probably something you know, but one thing I noticed when digging into your catalog was very rarely will you say words like girl or baby or any, like, that's very hard to find on a Cody Jinks album, is that. So I knew that whatever I wrote, you don't have girl as a pickup or baby, and you know what I mean? Stay away from that kind of stuff, man. And you know, you like mid-tempo and maybe a little more up-tempo kind of stuff because you come from that world, man. So all these things, man, it makes it fun. It makes it's a fun thing, really, man. Like I write for myself, but then can I also step outside of who I am and write something, since we're talking about you, you know, write something that you'll relate to or that you'll dig. It's like a challenge, man, and it's fun for me. And then when we get something, man, like Change the Game, for example, like I just had that one verse and sent it to you and explained what I thought was the concept was, you know what I mean? You never pat yourself on the back. So I think it might be a good time to pat yourself on the back, and I sent you that verse, and then in no time at all, dude, you had that thing going, and it was so cool, and it was like, yes, home run. I really, really enjoy that kind of thing, man.
Yeah, and I remember that song specifically trying to, and calling you and saying, how do we make this song sound really cocky without sounding too cocky? You know, and that was something we were trying to write around. But you saying that same thing, like, no, pat yourself on the back.
On the back, dude.
Yes, this one, and we certainly did.
Yeah, well, but you never had, and you're not the kind of guy to be like, hey, man, I've done my own thing here, and I've left them. That's not who you are or that's just not in your personality to be like that. So, I mean. When you stop and think about what you and everybody around you have accomplished, it is an amazing thing, man. And I think that at that point in your career, it was okay for you to stop and pat yourself on the back for a minute and be like, yeah, damn it, I have done this, you know?
Well, and a lot of fun on that record, and my last few records, is having, most of the writers on my last 4 or 5 records have been the same dudes.
Yeah. And I'm so grateful for that.
Well, yeah. I mean, so it's really like it's a we changed the game type of thing, because it's all the great writers are all pretty consistent, in terms of you and Ward and Tennessee Jet and Kendall Marvel, and it's been a great journey with some wonderful songwriters. But something you do better than anybody else is stepping away from your own stuff, stepping away from other people's stuff, and writing something that never freaking happened. And you can, and I don't remember, because you send me a lot of these songs and help me remember the car she packs up. She packs her car up
As fast as she can go.
as fast as she can go. I remember you sent that song to me and just thinking, how does he do that?
Well, man, I could ask you the same thing, like, because David, if I understand correctly, that's not a true story.
I
right?
did that one time, buddy. That's like my sample size. Like I was able to do that like once. You do that before most people get up.
Man, it's just the people that I dig were great storytellers.
Yeah.
Chris, Guy Clark, Todd Snyder. All these people are great storytellers. And you'd mentioned earlier how I prefer to play solo and just tell my stories and sing my songs. And I think that's because that's what a lot of the guys I look up to did. B, everybody in this room knows how crazy I am and how hard I am to rein in. So putting, a band of people around me is not a very easy thing to do, and I get overwhelmed pretty easy. But I think that all started with like Ramblin' Jack Elliott, man, and I've just always been fascinated with a person that can stand up in front of an audience with just themselves, their guitar, and their stories, and suck in and keep you entertained for a period of time. Like, it's not the easiest thing in the world to do, So I think if you can do that, then there's something pretty cool about you, man.
What's the best advice you've ever been given on that or would give on that? Because like you said, just standing up there, I got 6 guys up there. If I F up on the guitar, nobody knows,
Yeah.
But doing it that way.
Man, the best advice I could give is keep your audience's expectations low. Then you always, no, I'm just kidding, man. So always know, if you're talking about like the stories and stuff in between the songs, my advice would be to always know where you're going with the story and work it out to where, if it's a song, if it's a story that you're, wanting to make people laugh with, make sure you have a good punchline or something in there that's gonna, just like a song, something's gonna catch people's ear and make them respond. If you're telling a sad story, make sure you got something in there that pulls at their heartstrings a little bit. But always know where you're gonna go with whatever story you're telling. Always make sure it somehow relates to the song that you're about to sing, because if it doesn't, then you're just some guy up there telling random jokes, and that's something totally different. That's not, the troubadour thing. And yeah, man, just be who you are. Don't try to put on a front, because if you stand on a stage in front of an audience, it's going to take them no time at all to tell if you're faking. So be who you are, man. Be who you are.
Which leads to another great question. Is there a particular song that you've written that is particularly difficult for you to play live, or that you won't play? I have songs that I won't play live. Be they too personal, or do you have a song like that? Do you have a couple songs like that?
Normally, so I don't think that there's one like standard, I won't play this song. Actually, there is one song that I won't play, and the reason I won't play it is because when I wrote the song, I didn't know that the idea was stolen. Like, I wrote this song with someone, they brought the idea in, we wrote it, and then I found out later they had stolen the idea from someone. So I refused to play that. I didn't know the idea was stolen at the time, so I refused to play that one. But other than that, man, there's not one standard song, but depending on what I'm going through in my life at the time, different songs will affect me. Like if things are hard at home, there's certain songs that I'll play that are tough to get through just because they were written about home. You know what I mean? So it's more so things like that. It's more like if I'm fighting with my old lady and I play a song about how much I love her, it's probably going to affect me a little bit. You know what I mean? That kind of thing.
Yeah.
So.
I have a couple probably that I don't. Well, I know I have several that Rebecca doesn't like, and probably rightfully so, because I've heard her say nobody gets to hear my side.
Yeah.
And through 28 years of her being in this business with me through all of it, the realization has come in our life together that she's like, Cody, I'm not she is a good songwriter.
Yeah, I was
you know
gonna say,
that.
I know her name.
She's
but
like, Cody,
yeah,
but
yeah.
I don't put out records, and people hear your side, they don't hear mine. And I'm like, I know. And then after I started therapy, I realized it's probably been hard to live with me for the last 20 however many years, and nobody's heard her side of this. It's like, oh shit, you know.
Man, that's one of the things that got me so much about those verses and Tell Them What It's Like, because that's kind of, those verses in a way are kind of acknowledging that. Tell them what it's like to be someone some love to hate. Your pretty smile and all your grace, it wears you thin. To me, that's saying like, hey, you're putting up with a whole lot, and sometimes it's hard to be as graceful and just as you are.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
I can't stress enough how much those verses hit me when I first heard them, and that's why it was so easy to bring it back to that. That's why it was so easy to finish that chorus up, man, is because those verses struck a chord in my soul.
Yeah, and that one struck a lot with the fans as well. We haven't, last year we pulled it out, but we had been playing it for years on the tour. And this last tour we were on was the first time we had taken it out, and we still get calls for it.
It's my favorite.
Yeah.
Man.
Golly, man, I know. It's a good one. Getting to writers, different writers, who might have been the first songwriter that you were like, this person does it for me, or song? Was it a song?
Man, so it was probably, and as weird as it is to say this on a Cody Jinks show, it was probably Eminem, man. Like, I was an angry teenager when Eminem hit, and I just related so much with his music at that time. And I was, like I said, an angry teenager. I was popping pills and getting arrested and doing all these things he's singing about in his music. It hit me like a ton of bricks, man. And then after I had done a little bit of living, it was Hank Sr. And I still say that, if someone had a gun to my head and said, you can listen to one more song, what is it? It would be I'm So Lonesome I Could Cry. Like, that's my song. So yeah, Hank Williams. And then from there, it's just, expanded. Chris Christopherson writes a lot of stuff that I relate to. John Prine writes a lot of stuff that I relate to. And then, guys that are still out there doing it. Todd Snyder writes a lot of stuff that I really, really admire and strikes a chord. Man, it's just, I don't often stop and think about that, man, and it's cool. I appreciate that question. Thank you.
Who's your favorite co-writer to write with?
Present company.
Oh, come on, man.
I wouldn't lie to you, man.
Come on, man. Don't say that.
Listen, man, I think that just stop. No, I mean, come on, stop. No. But I think the proof of that is in how, by far I've written more with you than any other person on this planet.
That wasn't a loaded question.
No, I know that. No,
okay.
I totally know that. And I've written songs with other people that I love. Like, I love the 2 songs that Hayes Carl and I have written together.
Yeah.
Help Me Remember and As Fast As She Can Go. Like, I dig the song that I wrote that Sonny and Vince Gill recorded. And I wrote that with Alden McIntyre and Hannah Blaylock. Like, I've had great experiences with other co-writers, but if you're asking my favorite, man, the answer's in the results. Like, we've done so many songs together at this point that it's pretty obvious you're my favorite.
Well, thank you very
Yeah.
much. But whenever Brent Cobb records a song that you've written, you know you've made it. Brent Cobb hadn't recorded any of my songs, so I'm just saying, when other songwriters are cutting your stuff, you know, who do you want to write with that you haven't written with? And you can go past, present. I don't care who you say, man.
Man, if I could, I mean, anyone, it'd be Chris
Yeah.
or John Prine or Guy
Yeah.
Clark. I've been pretty fortunate, man, to, if not work with, at least get to meet and know most of the people that are still with us.
Yeah.
That I look up to, man.
Yeah.
And I've been so fortunate for that.
No doubt.
So
man.
grateful.
Me
for
too.
it.
Me too. Who do you think is the best out there right now?
Well, best is a funny word.
I like that.
Best.
Already, you're
Yeah.
don't say best, Cody.
Well,
It's like
well-
we're writing a song together. He's like, no, we got to be better than that.
What when you say best, do you mean like the music I enjoy?
I don't know.
listening to
Maybe yeah,
most?
the best to you. To your
Okay.
your person. Like, who do you think right now is just man? This guy or girl is just nailing it on the head right now.
Yeah, man, I'm into. I like songwriters, man. Todd Snyder is pretty untouchable, man.
He's been out there. He's been doing it for a long
Yeah,
time.
he sure has,
at a
man.
very, very high level.
and is still doing it at a very high level,
Mm-hmm.
man. And he's a guy that I look up to in that he has found a way to live every day for his muse, and that's what I aspire to. At this point in my life, there are other places and other things that occupy my mind, and I want to get to a place where I'm living strictly every day for my muse. Right now it's probably about 60-40. You know, I want to get to where I'm living every day for my muse, man.
His book's great too.
Yeah, oh yeah, dude. And it's the thing about that I dug about that was it's written in his voice.
You
hear
can
him-
totally
yeah,
hear him
yes, sir.
reading that. Whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Well, I'm gonna go to a not so serious question right here, and I haven't asked any of my other guests this question, but I have kind of a unique name. You have a unique name. How many clubs would you say have just misspelled or flat out butchered your name?
Oh, dude, I get Morningside a lot. A lot of people leave out the first N in Morningstar, or they'll leave out the first N, and it'll be side, so it'll say Morningside. I just got a check written that said that. What is going on here, dude? It is I think myself, you, and probably Hayes, Carl, because a lot of people don't realize there's 2 L's on the end of Carl. A lot of people butcher his thing too. There have been some interesting billboards and marquees.
I
through
bet.
the
Yeah.
years.
Yeah. Well, you will always be my Josh Morningstar.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, buddy, dude. They flashed the thing. They're like, "You're done, dude." We could sit up here and talk, and really, conversely, this whole show is for people to, like, the guests that we're getting on here. Like, these are conversations we would normally have.
Yeah,
you
right.
know, these are back porch conversations at my house.
I think we've had some of these.
We've had many of these. You know, that's what songwriters. We sit around and talk about songs and writing them and trying to be better at it. And you were one of my favorite in the world to do it with. I make no bones about that. You're one of the best out there. It's an honor to your friendship. First off, you know, we've gone through some dark shit together. Honestly, you
Yes,
know,
sir.
and so, you know, helping each other through that stuff, but writing about it and giving something to the world that they can say, like, I mean, these guys are fucked up just like me, you know, and putting that stuff out there. So, man, we're going to grab the guitars. We're going to set up for that. But in all honesty and sincerity, man, I love you so much. Thank you for being on this show.
Thank you, brother.
Yeah.
I hope you know how much it means. to
Oh,
me.
dude,
Thank you.
absolutely. So, for Late August Sessions, Cody Jinks, this is Josh Morningstar. We're going to grab some guitars, and I don't even know what we're going to play, but we've written so many songs together, it's bound probably not to suck too bad.
No, I'm not going crazy, but lately my head and my heart seem to be at least 8 minutes